Hello, here I am again. My name's Chuck. Hello, Corby Town TV, and we're taking a look at old Corby Town football programmes, or as you may know them, match day magazines. Now, we looked at the 80s and we looked at the 90s, but what in remiss I'd failed to do was to find the older programmes I have. So I have a collection now, and I'd like to start in the 1950s. Now, Corby Town football programmes in the 1950s weren't anything special. Let's be honest, but they do have the Steel Man, and we've talked about this in other episodes of this. It's obviously turning into a podcast. There's the Steel Man, and this is a game, as you can see, versus Kettering Town in the FA Cup. Now, lots of people don't like me, wouldn't want me to talk about Kettering Town being our near neighbours and fiercest rivals, and because it's the FA Cup, it feels as if it's something slightly different. Kettering Town, of course, have the record of most goals by any team ever scored in the FA Cup over all the years the FA Cup has been going. 923 goals. And second to that record is the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. So, yeah, come on, Tottenham next season, please. Come on, do the cup. But this is the FA Cup from 1959. If we look at the date on this, it's the second qualifying round, Saturday, October 5th, 1957. Kickoff, 3 p.m. Football chatter in here. We won't go in. Oh, this, I didn't realise this. It opens up in a 3-pager. Look at that. That's tremendous. Teams of any note. There's no first name. So Plummer's playing 5. Patterson's in goal. Oh, that's for Kettering. Eggleston's in goal for the mighty Corby Town. Connors is playing. There's a Kennedy playing. A Miller been playing. An Adam been playing. And a Fulton. So from those names, I mean, they're all pretty much names you would hear in a squad these days. But there you go. A fold out 3-page kind of, I don't even know what you'd call that shape of paper nowadays. That's quite bizarre. But there you go, 1957. So very old time indeed. But staying in 1957, I believe, later on, and this is an away programme. Don't often see these, but 21st December, 2:15. So obviously Peterborough United didn't have any floodlights. And you can see there's no floodlights here at London Road. But it's a big step up to the programme. There's the team right in the middle there, as splayed out in most programmes that they were at that time, splayed out, and Eggleston stood in goal, Parsons, McElwain's there, Adams there, Kennedy's there, Miller's there, as we mentioned. So doing quite well, 3D for that programme. By 1957, a bit later on in the year, I think this is moving into the next season. I think this is Saturday, December 7th, or maybe not then. Scunthorpe Reserves, but it's a similar thing, the foldy out kind of page. Corby doing quite well that year. And then we move into 1950. Oh, is this the same week? Good gracious, it is. Oh, no, the same month. Kings Lynn. Played Kings Lynn. But moving on. 1958. This is an away programme as well at Kettering Town versus Corby. Lots of people say, we don't like Kettering, but we played them an awful lot because they're near neighbours. We've played them in the FA Cup, we've played them in the Hillier Cup, we've played them in the league, and yeah, look at that for a thing across the front of the programme. I'm not going to say that out loud. That's just rude these days. You can't get away with that. But what is interesting here, there's a lovely team photo of Corby Town back then. Who you can actually see in there, I think, is, again, Johnny Morris played for Leicester in England. Not the Johnny Morris that likes to hang around with animals. But is there anybody else in there? Haddon, of course, went on to be a Corby Town manager. And W. Morris. But that's the Corby Town team. As you can see, playing in white shirts with a V-neck black trim. So interesting stuff. Got a new goalkeeper, Dixon, and J. Morris, W. Morris, Jordan, and somebody called Poppet. Oh, and yeah, interesting. Corby Town, 1958. Now, that was all pre floodlights, of course. We had the grand opening of the floodlights in 1958, February 17th. So Monday, February 17th, still dark, 1958, at 7 p.m. Steelmen versus All-Star 11. Now, you might be thinking, who's this All-Star 11? Well, they're from all over. Peter Doherty, not from the Libertines, but Ireland and Derby County. Charlie Mitten, Jack Fogarty for England, Portsmouth. Frank Broom. Jimmy Hagan of Sheffield United. Big names here. Bill Shankly's in the programme. His name's in the programme. Didn't actually play, but George Young, Ted Ditchburn, Tottenham in England. He played in goal. He didn't actually turn up either, nor did Willie Barnes, I don't think. But some big names in there. A Corby 11. But there is an interesting kind of cartoon in here. What this bloke's saying is, I wish there was football every night because he wouldn't need to use his candle. So a terrible kind of display of suggesting that Scottish people are tight. And it's not something we can condone, but they're saying if there's floodlight football every night, he wouldn't have to use his candle. So he'd be saving some candle money. But there you go, that's from back then. So moving on again, another game versus Kettering. Thursday, November 6th. Is there a date on this? 1958-59 season, so this was 1958. Programmes have moved along a bit. It's gone to 2, 3, 4 pages. And... yeah, the team's a bit different here, but these have all been donated to me by a big Corby Town fan and somebody that used to do an awful lot of football, played for Weldon. Mick Lewin sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and these were passed on to me by his boy Kev. So, interesting that he's overwritten the names in here of who's actually playing, so that's very nice to see. And it's nice to see that they're not just sitting gathering dust. I'm doing something useful with them. I'm showing you online. So wasn't just Corby Town at Occupation Road, of course. That's back in Occupation Road days. On the Corby Town Football Club ground on the 3rd of January 1959. Look at that. England versus the rest. An international game, and just bizarre. What does it say? Welcome to Corby. The director's honour and privilege to stage his youth trial match at the club's ground. So well done. Sadly, again, it's just got the names, the surnames of players, but lots of wonderful adverts about Morgan Squire and Company at Rockingham Road. They're not there anymore. Central Restaurant in the Square, Stamford. That isn't there anymore. W. Allen Bakers, they've gone. Corby Town versus Bomber Command on. Good gracious! So it's all happening at Occupation Road. There's the if that's the program, I don't know what that is. That's something else that's gone with it. That's maybe something else, but this is. The teams, so another one from the same kind of festival. And back to Kettering again. I'm afraid, sorry, I don't know how it's happened, but Kettering certainly have got some floodlights in this picture from this programme in 1964. So we moved on a bit. Kettering Town wearing what in this diagram here looks like some sort of Arsenal kit, and I would never condone that. So always good to see a Corby Town team. It does say here white shirts, black shorts. Alexander in goal, but it looks like he's been crossed out and somebody else's name's put in there. Pearson's right, Sternhouse, Curran, Herkin. Who's he? And Crawley. So there's great Corby names in there, of course. And 1964. Again, international football. England versus Scotland at Corby Town ground. Here we go. So, where's that? That is 1964 again, a Friday, 1964. And it looks like it's a boys' club. So, if you're involved in the boys' clubs way back then, there's no names that particularly spring to mind, but they're not full names, so it's rather difficult to say who or what or when. But there you go, that happened at, then. And then moving on is a really important game. This was 1965. Anybody remembers this? Saturday, 4th of December, 1965, 3 o'clock kickoff. Corby Town versus Luton Town. That was a huge game in the FA Cup, and of course, one of those games that lots of people still remember at Corby Town nowadays. So and this is the programme, which is nice to see. There's a team picture there, and it's a decent team picture. Look at that. That's a quality picture of Corby, looking as ever. White shirts, black shorts, white stockings, black trim, as they say. In goal, Alexander. Oh, McMain or Whittingham. They didn't know who was playing. Goodall is in. Obviously, Goodall, I believe, scored that afternoon for England against Luton. Luton were in the Premiership last year. That's how important that is. Of course, we did go and play Luton again, but I was away. I didn't even see that at all. But there's a nice picture of the football happening at Occupation Road way back when in the 60s. One last one then. This was another charity game, 2nd of February 1976. So we've moved on a decade. The official switching on of Corby Town FC floodlighting system. So I don't know what's happened. We've had floodlights and then we've got a new floodlighting system. But this is Corby Town versus Nottingham Forest. And old Big Ed's there, of course, the wonderful Brian Clough. They brought out, I don't know why they've done this on the team sheet at the back. It looked like Corby away. But Hinton Haddon playing in the back four. Horn, Senior, Smith, Matthews, Slater, Story, Lard. Don't know, or Lard, I suppose. Looking at the Forest team doesn't really mean anything to me, but there you go. And Frank Clark played for Forest, according to the team sheet. Frank Clark went on to, of course, to manage Forest. John McGovern played as well. Ian Bowyer, Terry Curran. Oh, I see what they're saying. That's the game from way back when. That's a previous game. The real team is here. So let's go to Ian Bowyer, Terry Curran, Martin O'Neill, John O'Hare, Barry Butlin, John Robertson. Of course, John Robertson went on to play for Corby Town in later years, as did Bryn Gunn, who was playing number 2 with Peter Wells in goals. As for the Steelmen, Peter Wells, David Gill. I saw Gilly not so long ago. Hello, David. Glenn Elliott, Gordon Hall, he's still in the town. Charlie McGowan, John Mackin, Rob Clark, who's still about, I believe, Roger Russell, George Riley. That George Riley went on to play for Newcastle and what are they called? Watford. Elwyn Roberts and Jimmy Kane. That's young Jimmy Kane, I guess. I don't think the old Jimmy Kane would have come on and played. But yeah, that's quite a decent team that Forest have sent there, of course. And that's the programme from the opening in 1976. So that's all I've got for this episode. But please, if you've enjoyed this, please like it and share it and all that kind of gubbins. I'm doing this for Corby Town TV. My name's Chuck, and we'll have a look at more programmes, particularly going forward, maybe from the 20s. Ooh, interesting stuff. But in the meantime, hope you've liked it. Thanks very much.